Welcome to day 33 of 1,350 days. Now there are no sales to report, so the figure remains at 1,094. And 1 month into the challenge, I've only made 11 sales since the beginning. Now obviously this is nowhere near enough to help me achieve my target of 1 million sales over the course of the challenge, but I'm still optimistic. Tomorrow I have a meeting, a marketing meeting with my publisher for my upcoming book, Do the Work You Love. So I'm traveling into London to speak to the marketing team about how we're going to promote the book and see what ideas they've got. Also, I'm working well on my new book, The Genius of Joe Barnes. I talked about that last week, I think, and next week I'm also going to start experimenting with Amazon marketing systems. So we will be revealing the results of that. Primarily I'm going to use that to promote my first book, Escape the System, and then obviously if that goes well, I'll use it on all subsequent book launches and campaigns. So with that out the way, I thought I'd tell you guys a bit about 3 of the most influential comments I've received about my book. Now, over the course of the 7 years that I've been an author, I've received a lot of positive feedback, and you guys can check out my reviews if you want to see some of that. And on top of that, I've had lots of emails or lots of person-to-person comments, and all of them are always a huge boost. And the 3 I'm going to discuss now aren't necessarily the top 3, they're just 3 that stick into my mind and that were relevant for a particular reason, which I'm going to explain to you in a moment. Now, the whole point of telling you about this is, as an author or as anybody who creates a product, you have to believe in your product. In order to sell it, in order to convince other people that it's valuable or it's going to help them, you have to have a certain level of belief. And when you first launch a book or a product, it can be a little tricky to have that self-belief. Especially, as I said, especially when you first launch it, you're not sure, you're a little uncertain. Yes, you may have spent hours and hours or maybe years perfecting your product and book, but there's still this little doubt in your mind, will people accept it? Will people like it? That was certainly the thought. Thought in my mind when I first published my book back in 2012. So the very first positive feedback, it wasn't the first positive feedback I got, but it was the most influential early feedback I got, was from a guy called James Rick, and he had something called The Full Potential Show, and that was the very first interview I'd done as an author. That was very early on. That was probably within 2 weeks of having self-published my book. I then suggested to him, look, would you be able to give me an endorsement for my book? I was keen to try and get endorsements from personal development figures to try to help with the credibility of the book. And he said, okay, send it over, but just to warn you, I'm very reluctant to offer endorsements. Anyway, he read the book and messaged me back saying he really believed in it, really liked it, said it was excellently thought out, and he'd be happy to give me an endorsement. Now, I remember when I got this feedback from him, I think it was probably only 4 or 5 months into my journey of being a self-published author. I jumped out of my seat. And I was just so overwhelmingly happy. I remember walking to the wall and just resting my head against the wall and thinking, yes, somebody believes in it. Somebody gets it, I had doubts about whether people would accept the book at the start because I called it Screw the System. It was a slightly controversial for a personal development book. So to think that, yeah, somebody gets it. And he mentioned in his comment to me, this is going to reach thousands, if not millions of people's minds. And I just thought, man, that is what I needed to hear at that point in my journey, because it gave me the belief that yes, I do have something here that's valuable. The next positive piece of feedback I got was, I think around 2014, 2015, from a guy called Matt Toy. And some of you may actually be watching this video, James or Matt. If you are, just maybe say in the comments, say hello in the comments below, just to let you guys know how much I valued your feedback. Anyway, I think Matt lives in China, and it was nothing in particular in what he said. Yeah, he said he really enjoyed the book, and it was it connected with him, and lots of great positive stuff. But it was more, for some reason, it came at a time when it's suddenly sort of started sinking into my mind. I'd been at this thing for 3 years now with not a huge amount of success in terms of sales. I was getting positive comments on my work, but in terms of sales, the success wasn't great. But when he sent me that email, sent me the message over Facebook maybe actually, I just thought to myself, just got to keep going. It's slowly reaching people. It is getting to people out there. People are responding well to it. I've just got to keep going. As long as I keep going, there will be more and more people that this book reaches and touches. The final positive piece of feedback that I've chosen to focus on today came right at the start of 2017, January 2017 actually, and it was at a Live Your Legend meetup group. I used to help host them and run them, and I did a couple of talks myself at these groups, giving my How to Escape the System talk. The previous year, a lady called Lenka had bought my book and enjoyed the talk, came and spoke to me at the end and got a copy as well. And then in January of the next year, I appeared again. I don't think I was talking at this one. I think I was just in the audience listening to the speaker and listening to sort of taking part in the group. Anyway, right at the end of the meeting, she came up to me and said, wow, your book was excellent. It was a big factor in helping me, give me a push to go and pursue your dreams. I think she said she was moving from London to Dublin maybe perhaps, or she had a new job or something. Anyway, it had given her the push to go pursue her dreams and go and do it. And that was hugely powerful to me at the time. I remember maybe for the rest of the evening, I was kind of in a sort of altered state. It was the realization, that was it. The realization hit home that I've got something here, that not just this book, but future books that I write have the power to touch people in some way. That for a certain person, my kind of writing or book can make an impact on their lives. And I thought that's powerful. Again, 2017, I still wasn't seeing a huge amount of sales, but I had this confirmation. It was the kind of absolute confirmation that this was my path. No matter how hard the struggle got, no matter how tough things got in my life, outside of selling books, whatever the case, no matter how much older I got or was aware of myself getting older, I just had to keep going. I had to keep going, keep pouring these words out, keep getting out keep expressing myself, saying what I feel my message is, to try and share that with the world. And if I do, I will get to where I want to go. It was that realization, I remember now, that I will get to where I want to go if I just keep doing this. So those are the 3 really powerful recollections I have. And what I'm suggesting to you guys is, obviously, if you're pursuing your dream, look out for similar moments. Look for that, use that positive feedback as fuel. It is in fact more powerful than money alone. And it is the thing which can propel you to greater levels, and also propel you to the point where you start to see financial return as well. So that's what I wanted to say to you guys today. What are your powerful moments? Those cherish those, look out for those, and build your belief off the back of them. Because ultimately, your belief in your product is the main thing that it's going to sell it. You can have great strategies in place, and strategies are important. But when it comes to speaking to people about your book, whether that's publishers, whether that's potential buyers, same goes book, product, whatever the case. Whether you're speaking to people who can make a deal for you, or customers you're going to sell to, if you don't believe in what you're selling, then there's very little chance that they will as well. So that's my story for today. Join me again on Monday for the next episode of 1350 Days.